Okay, we have Next.js successfully installed. So let's head over and say cd frontend. That's going to open us the folder, and then we can do code dot to open it up in a new window here for us. So here we go. Now, if you have never done anything in Next, don't worry, I'll go over the files just now. So essentially what we have here is, let's start from the top. We have node modules. These are all the packages installed to make Next.js work. You have React here, you have their routing system, you have their API system, their image, components, different kinds of components, different kind of packages. You never ever need to touch this folder. If we install different packages, like if we want to add animations, everything is going to go in this node modules. Next up, we have pages. So essentially, Next.js has a routing system that works with files. So if you want an about page, you'd create an about.js here. So when you go over to localhost 1337/about, it's going to load up that specific component. All right, we also have something called an API here. Don't worry about this for now. We're going to cover this later on. But essentially, you can imagine it as being like a full-on backend system integrated here, where you have a request and response, and you can make API requests. So it's really cool. You're going to see it, how nice it is when it comes to the authentication and Stripe later on in this course. All right, so we have our app.js. This is like your main component where your whole app gets mounted. So you have a component here and page props. And index here is essentially your home page, all right? So when you go over to slash nothing, this is gonna load up. This is like the initial load. So here, this my app basically switches up based on which page you are on. It's gonna load up that specific page, all right? So that's the only two things that are in here. Next up, we have the public here. This is where you can add your icons, you can load up images if you want, your fonts, all of that good jazz. And style, well, we have some CSS. And Next.js runs on, has modules integrated in it, which basically means that you can scope CSS files to specific components on your page. But we're not going to be using that. We are going to be using style components. But essentially what it means is I can just grab the H1 here. So I can do a H1 and do color red. And if I link this home modules to my index, which it is linked, as you can see here, if I create another page here, this H1 is not going to affect it, even though it's like a global selector, right? It only links to that specific component. All right, so let's get this up and running just so so we can clean up these files a little bit. I'm gonna run npm run dev. That's the command to get it up and started. So we can hold Control and click on this, and that's gonna open it up for us in the browser. So here we go, that's it. Just a simple example file here. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Let's remove the styles from here and go over here to the main section. I'm just going to clean this up as well. Just delete everything, get rid of this footer, and just add a H1 here. See, if I write H1 and hit tab, nothing happens. But we can go over here where it says JavaScript, and we can type in React and click on that. So now it recognizes it. And I can just hit tab and it's automatically the emmet is gonna work just fine. So let's just say hello, next, and hit save. All right, let's also get rid of the styles container here. Let's remove that. Let's see if we have any error. Do a refresh on that. Okay, on the main tag, there's a styles.main. Hit save. And there we go. That's where we are. Just cleaned everything up. I'm going to show you how the modules work just in case you do want to use it in the next episode. All right, let's also remove this and hit save. Just clean everything up and we are good to go. So let's go in the next episode. I'll give you the basics of Next.js. This is just kind of going through the files. Oh, there's also like a git ignore here that doesn't push up your environment variables and a few other files here, like node modules. You never want to commit that. There's a config file here, which we're going to modify in just a bit. Your package JSON, you can view all the npm installs that you did if you had more packages. And there's just a README, and that's it. So let's get into the other episode so I can show you a couple of features that Next.js has, like routing.